So Randi is an acclaimed YA author whose work dares to speak uncomfortable truths. Her novel, The Angel of Greenwood, which centers on the Tulsa Race Massacre, is currently under attack by the Pine Richland School Board in Pittsburgh. And she is also a VCFA student in our writing program. So please help me welcome Randi Pink. Randi, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm grateful to be here.
Wait. We got to talk about the setting. Hold on. Randi's going to upstage us tonight. Where are you, Randi, right now? What's this sun that's hitting you so beautifully?
Well, it's I did not set the time for this event in the golden hour of Irondale, Alabama. So whoever did, thank you, because it's like, ah, it sounds like the beautiful music we just heard. Um,
Is that
and
your creative space? Is that your creative place that you go to? Because
it is.
you've got a lamp out there. I mean, you have it all. You
No,
have it all set
I
up.
love I love lamps. This is a lamp of a man in a tub. I have, white picket fence. No, this is, and also this is my porch. And in the South, I think everywhere now, you paint the underneath of your porch light blue to keep the hates away. So yeah, this is where I write, and this is a rocking chair. Yeah, I am. I'm sorry, I'm very
So if we were
and
to
my sweatshirt.
if we were to fly by your home, this is where we would find you in your creative space.
If you did not know me, you would know I was a writer from passing by.
That's
Mm,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, hey, thank you for being here. And as I mentioned earlier, your book, The Angel of Greenwood, has been under attack. And some people might think that that word under attack might be a little too strong. But can you tell us what it's felt like to have your work challenged and how you've personally responded to those who are attempting to erase history through the work that you're doing as a YA author?
Um, well, this might sound well, I don't know how it sounds. I guess it's up to y'all to know. But I was grateful to find out about it. And if I can explain, most bands are sleight of hand nowadays.
Hmm.
It's a
What do you mean by that?
Well, I call them, well, my mama calls them backwoods bands, like it's an homage to the 70s. They just slip a book off the shelf and throw it in the trash nowadays. I think at some point, those who are for bannings of all kind realize that the public square bannings were a uniting activity. A book burning drew people together. So for decades, they turned into just um, pulling a book off the shelf and privately losing it,
Mhm.
and pretending not to. I've been in the game a minute, so I've been banned, especially with Girls Like Us, which took place, which was about teen girls pre-row. And I live in, Alabama, so that was heavily, um, they dealt with me on that. But most of the bans were under bright red confidential emails.
Hmm.
It was a very lovely librarian or wonderful teacher that said, "Hey, I had a confidential conversation with a parent who said that your book could not be in this class. I cannot share their name because this is a confidential conversation, but I just want you to know that you're being challenged." I was grateful in January when I found out that this challenge was at least done in the public so that I could speak to it,
Right.
you know, equally publicly, maybe even more publicly than they did in the first place. Um, so yeah,
And then
that
you decided to actually go up there.
I
You
did.
actually wanted to travel up there, and you explained to me that you did that. What? And you took your children with you, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I did. I think
Why would you do that?
I was
Wouldn't you feel
picked
like
up.
you're incredible at an incredible risk to your safety in
Yeah.
doing something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I told Ellen this, if you're in here, hello, and I love you so much. I'd rather
Shout out to
be
Ellen.
yeah, shout out to Ellen. I'd rather be dead than scared.
Mm,
And I mean that. I got small children. I want to live for them, but I'm not laying down for nobody. Um, so when I found out about it, I said, this is my opportunity to face it. Yes, I was nervous. Nervous does not cut it.
mm,
But going into, I believe it's 94% white town I never heard of, who had a 5-hour school board meeting in Pennsylvania winter about my words. I wanted to go, and stand my black behind at the lectern, grab the microphone, and say, "Hey, let's talk about it."
mhm,
And that's what I did. I was very, very scared. Um, but I walked in with shaking hands, and I walked out with many friends. Um, so in doing that, um, we spoke for hours and hours with hundreds of people showed up to that too. The people who voted against Angel of Greenwood, the people who voted fiercely for it, the people who never heard of me in their life showed up. And
mm.
that was proof in that small town. I think we tapped out around 400 people in the library. We didn't even have no food for real, but they were there. and and it proved to me that people are craving community
Mm,
and, just wanna talk to somebody who's willing to talk about it, and, for my growth as a writer, for, sure, I had my fists in the air, but also I wanted to hear what they had to say. What triggered you, about my writing? And if it's something that I need to hear that too.
mm.
Um, it was empowering in ways I didn't even expect. So yeah, I did. I went.
You said that if you burn the book, you burn the bridge. What do you
Mm.
believe is on the other side of that bridge? And why do you need readers to get there?
Oh, that's a good question. For me personally, I- I'm a wise woman at my core. Um, I can't own much about myself, but I own my own wisdom. And it
Mm,
ain't never wise to burn bridges. Um, what do I think is on the other side of a bridge? My army could be on the other side of that damn bridge. And if I get pissed off enough and light a match and burn it, I'm fighting
mm.
members of my own army, you know? I don't believe in that. Um, I believe that yeah, I just I don't know. It melts my butter. It rubs me wrong when people just in a fit of whatever burn a whole bridge to potential change and the health of our cause
Mhm.
for a reason that they believe is right at the time that may prove not to be. So yeah.
So, Randy, you are an author. You're also a student at VCFA. I mean, you literally had a published career, and now you're coming back to school. Why is it important to be both in both those spaces and places, to both be an author and a student? And what does it mean to be in both those places right now in a moment like this?
Oh, that's a good question too. I think this is my life. And I mean it's a beautiful, lovely life.
I'm coming to visit. I'm just inviting myself, so I'm coming to visit.
You should. I mean, I cut my own grass and plant I believe in cutting around the wildflowers. Like, I
Mm,
live a beautiful life, but I am by myself. So I realized that, I believe it was last semester, I said, you know what? I don't have as many links as I would like into a community of writers. And like the two wonderful creative spirits that opened this, I needed that.
Mm.
And I didn't have that. I mean, I didn't say, I'm not gonna say just, because this is wonderful. But I had this, a quiet rocking chair. And I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not. I need a community to tell me, hey, I want to cuss, I'm not going to cuss. You messing up here, or you're doing amazing, or you tripped here and you need to get back up. I needed that. So that's why I decided, and I realized pretty immediately that it was the best decision I could have made for myself. So, yeah.
Well, when you and I initially had that conversation, I said we needed to do something like this, that not only did people need to hear your story, but to also hear the importance of community.
Mm,
When
yeah.
you stand in your truth, especially when you're under attack, how important is it to be a part of that community? And now that you're a part of our VCFA community, I'm sure that community is continuing to grow as a result of all of the publicity that you're probably getting on your books right now. What does that mean? And how should one use community in this moment right now?
Mm. Well, I guess two things. First of all, as far as the under attack, I don't know. I've always just been a Southerner, so I feel like I'm always under attack. That's due north. That's a given. Um, I enter a room with a stigma in the first place, so
Mm,
I enter that room calm, easy, collected, but always knowing that I have to be at the ready because you just never know. I know my grandmother, brilliant, brilliant woman. She could, she was a maid in one of the, and we call it over the mountain, the very wealthy part of Birmingham, Alabama. And,
mhm,
but she was listening and taking it in, always heard and fiercely underestimated, just like me. So when it comes to um being on alert, being on the ready, I enter that space. uh I ain't Pollyanna about it. I got to be at the ready, but also knowing that to enter those rooms, I have to enter them calm and also open if possible.
mhm,
What I would like more in our community that frustrates me, I would like for us to be a united front. Um, and It's frustrating to me that I mean, I'll go ahead and say that I'm a raging liberal, and I just like I want us to know how much power it is in standing together, because the people I look on the other side are steady standing together, regardless of if they fall flat on their face. They say that dude on my team, that person is on my team. I want that for us.
yeah.
I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated for 25 years, and one thing we learned as a sorority, it's a Black sorority, and one thing I learned is that you can't it ain't no dissension up in when we walk out of the sorority meeting.
Right.
In the sorority meeting, we be fighting. And I mean like near blows, but we walk out like, don't touch my sister. I want that with us. That's I believe that would be wonderful for us.
Well, I think our army just heard what you had to say. And I hear you as a general calling us to stand together, arm to arm, pencil to pencil, note to note, whatever modality you do your creativity, that we figure that out collectively together. And this is a part of that start, right? So my hope is that it's not the end of the conversation, it's the beginning of the conversation. And when you come to residency this summer in California, I can't wait to meet you in person and to talk about this even more.